Oh, thank you, Jerry, for your comment. And I know it's later in other parts of the countries, in other countries, I should say. It's even late for me. I try to do these earlier, but so it's Kiana here for the Being in Sync 366 video series. I guide people to peace. I use a process called energy psychology, physical, mental, emotional, and spiritual alignment through this process of awareness. It is a spiritual alignment. It is unique and different. If you are a scientific person, this is not for you. Because this is going to be based on, hello, Peter. My whole process is not based on science. If you are looking for fact-based experiences, Kiana's not for you. If you are looking for experiential-based learning, that's what we do, that's what I do, that's what I help people do. So I'm just gonna wait 5 minutes here and just chat with you all about spiritual disturbances after we get to the 5-minute mark. And, I try to pick topics based on the comments that are sent. Hey, Ankush and Kush. Sorry. I really want to get the names right, but it's really not my forte. I was speaking to my Ayurvedic doctor who's Indian, and I was trying to describe the herbs, and I just don't even think my translation worked for the herbs. Anyways, hey, Eric. Good to see you. Hope you're feeling better. It's not fun being sick. Sometimes it's necessary to relax and do nothing to feel better. So hopefully you're feeling better. I know I don't like being sick at all. I got COVID twice last year, back to back. It was brutal. My face looks very white because the sun is like setting in the background, and the way that the light is reflecting is really not favorable. Anyway, so I would like to reiterate that I tap into people's energy field when they sign up for a session. I don't do it for people on YouTube. I don't do it for people that I don't know. I actually don't do it for anybody who doesn't pay, because there is something called energetic hygiene, and you need authorization. Somebody just saying, yes, you can look in my field. There are things in people's energy field that you wouldn't want to have in your field. So it does take some. In my case, I think that there needs to be energetic integrity, and not just going into people's field because I want to or because they want me to. There has to be a mutual agreement in my estimation. And, there's a lot of nefarious energies or other healers who will go into other people's fields and do some adjustments and I just don't think that's a good practice. So I don't practice that way. I practice more one-on-one with my clients, and I do have some group healing sessions that I do, but they're not open to the public at this time. Anyhow, so that's that. How are you guys doing today? It's Tuesday. For some reason, it feels like it's already the weekend. What do you guys think? What do you guys think about spiritual disturbances? Have you thought about that topic before? That's what we're talking about today. And I'm going to do a poll question here. See if we have more people that join us. I'm going to go on mute here in just a moment. Hold on. Okay, I got a poll there. Maybe this time we don't get as many bots. Maybe that's what this time means. So it's later in the day, we don't get as much bots. We don't have as many people, but hopefully we can have a good discussion with you all. So we're just about at 5 minutes, so I want to start our discussion, and it's actually going to be quite short, but I think it might be super helpful for those of you who are wondering what spiritual disturbances are. And I think that there are, obviously, we all have our own unique paths. We have our own unique ways of learning. And one way is not the only way. So take whatever I say on here and leave the rest behind. That does not work for you. Our spiritual aspects, we have a physical body, a mental body, an emotional body, and a spiritual body. They're not all separate. They all work together. However, oftentimes people only focus on the spiritual body. I'm going to try and move my camera and see if that changes. Boy, it's bright. It looks like I have a light now in my face. Okay. Hey, Brazil. It's a little gloomy in Ontario, yeah? Winter is here. Winter is here. Rain. Yeah, we'll get rain here, I'm sure, too. They're doing what's called cloud seeding here. I don't know if you guys have researched it. It's become very popular. They officially announced that they were doing it last year. However, I suspect they've been doing it before they actually announced it. It's just weather modification. Hey, Nick, good to see you. All right. So today we're talking about spiritual disturbances, okay? And everybody has their own unique path. We all know that. You have yours, I have mine. And how you understand the spiritual aspects of yourself will determine a lot. If it's not something that you spent a lot of time on, it will be challenging for you because there are these otherworldly forces out there. I'll just say nefarious energies that are running what's called anti-Christ, anti-life, demonic energies. Those are the types of energies that will cause people to not want to talk about God, will have an adverse reaction to the terms Jesus, which, I could say I've had that because I didn't like how it was used in the church. It really did not feel right when I was involved in the church. Now, I know lots of people have their own religious beliefs. This is not to say that your religious belief is wrong. I'm just saying from my experience, when I heard the word Jesus at church, it didn't strike me well. It did not feel right. And I was really turned off from how the energy was working. Okay, so when you're talking about spiritual disturbance, I would say that was what I would call a spiritual disturbance, right? Because everybody in the Catholic Church is talking about Jesus and Christ, and every time they're saying the word, I am having a reaction. And the reaction is not one of love, not one of purity, not one of alignment. Now, does that mean I was out of alignment? Maybe, or maybe I was picking up on something else that was happening that I didn't have a language for. I don't even know. I haven't even spent time going back into it because to me, it doesn't matter. What matters is this. When you are having spiritual disturbances, you will experience challenges. And the challenges will feel like they're in every single aspect of your life. Physical, mental, emotional, spiritual. Sometimes it will start as a nudge in one area and then you ignore it, you ignore it, you ignore it, and before you know it, it's like a cancer and it's spread. And that's exactly how disturbances happen, is that, it could start with, you hear this voice and this voice says something to you and you don't really like what they're saying, but you're hearing this voice, so you're acknowledging it, but you're not disagreeing with the voice. So therefore, because you have not disidentified with this voice, you have now gone into agreement with this energy unbeknownst to you. Again, going back to the law of intent, consent, and authority. So this can be very problematic for growth because you will now be engaged in an energy that you don't know what it is. And it's usually quite negative. So know that the spiritual disturbances will bring challenges, and these challenges are meant to really look at what you are believing. What is your belief system? Why do you believe what you believe? Not just I believe, like not just saying you're Catholic, but why? Why do you believe in that religion? Was it just because your mother, your grandmother, you have a history of it? Or is it because that there's something that resonates with you that you believe is true? And have you even challenged what you believe is true and real and what is not? Have you challenged and looked at the multiple different versions of information that are out there? Are you willing to challenge your beliefs? Because the spiritual disturbances are coming from a lack of challenging your belief system, okay? And like I said before, it will start as a nudge and then it will go deeper and deeper and deeper. And then you will have, if you don't start to question and you don't go into inquiry and you don't use critical thinking and you just say, you know what, I don't believe in God. And that's totally your choice. I want to believe in creation or source. Whatever it is, you still need to understand why you're having this reaction in other ways to religion, to beliefs about God. What is that energy? Because that is going to be causing the disturbances. And I know it's uncomfortable to look at, and it will cause people to be confused. It will cause people to be feel lost, feel disconnected. And it really causes people to fracture to a large extent in ways that are not helpful mentally or emotionally or spiritually. So we're going to be seeing a lot of this come up on the horizon in the days and years and months to come, because if you don't have, and if you have not been shown or taught or even experimented within yourself on how to develop a direct relationship with God, and in my personal opinion is that the churches keep that from happening because they think that you need to go through the church in order to develop that direct relationship. That's my experience. You don't have to believe me. You have your own experience. But the important aspect is that you must have a direct relationship with creation, God, source energy. I don't care about the other beliefs. It's just how are you creating that? When we are having spiritual disturbances, it's part of the initiation spiritually. The spiritual path is not easy. It is not easy, and it can be quite devastating and challenging when we have been unwilling to challenge our beliefs. And so just know that if you're feeling confused, lost, or unsure, that's part of the initiation. The initiation into the spiritual aspect is really, I just got distracted because somebody says they're an atheist. Why? How? What are you going to that tells you that's the way? Challenge your beliefs. You're undisturbed because you're an atheist. You want to understand why. Why do you believe what you believe? You want to know what is true for you in your heart. I'm not telling you not to be an atheist, but you want to know why you believe what you believe. I'm not telling you to go to church. I think the church is a farce. And I think people that go to church, a lot of them are developing practices for the most part that keeps them fragmented mentally. Now, does that mean everybody? No. There are some people that have really taken time to develop their direct relationship to God through the things that they have read and experienced and whatever. I am not saying those things are wrong or incorrect or untrue. What I'm saying is that you need to start to challenge. If you're having spiritual disturbances, you really want to understand your beliefs. What are your beliefs about God and why? Go 5 deep. Why? why. You really want to get to the heart of who you are. Going back to what we talked about confidence, because confidence is really based in knowing who you are. So know that when you're in the initiation stage, you're going to have what's called higher sensory abilities start to come on board. That's what happens. So you might be feeling things, you might be sensing things, you might be knowing things. These are not demonic energies that you're necessarily feeling unless you are at a lower frequency. Sometimes those are the easiest and most palatable ones to connect with until you've done your diligence and kind of cleaned out your belief systems of things that don't fit for you. The process of spiritual disturbances are very uncomfortable. And from my experience of other people, they just want it to be over. And that does not make it move faster. It does not make you heal quicker. It is about creating that direct relationship and having greater awareness about God. So I named my company In Sync Consulting. Why? Why did I name my company that? This is going back over 25, 30 years. That's how long I've been in business. And I got that name in a meditation. So when you listen at another level, and also synchronicity is something that happens when you pay attention to the rhythms of life. And life has rhythms. Sometimes we have stages where we go through turmoil. We have patterns that need to be cleared and rectified. We have karma that's coming up from other generations, whether you believe in past lives or not. The DNA is the DNA and it gets passed down. So how you believe matters. And if you have beliefs that keep you limited, it's going to change how you experience these spiritual disturbances. That's why I think it's so important. Hey, nobody, good to see you back again. That's why it's so important for you to not try to just move on, but to try and move on in connection to your heart. There's no religion of the heart. There's none. So that is the fundamental foundation of the human experience, is to be fully connected to our heart. Our heart is a portal. If you're a nerdy person, you might like heartmath.com, HEARTMATH.com. Lots of data about heart math there. They also probably have a ton of research that you can read, and also experiments or classes if you're interested in that. But getting back in connection to your heart, and that is your connection to creation. So don't get stuck on the language, because for me, I feel things. So when you're extrasensory, that's what I think and believe that I was experiencing in the church, especially as I was being indoctrinated into a system of beliefs that didn't resonate with me. I didn't like what they said about certain things. I didn't like the words when they were being spoken. Something just felt incongruent. And that was my higher sensory abilities coming on. Now, nobody in my family talked about higher sensory. My mother was the only one that kind of knew that I had abilities and that I talked to her. Never talked about it with my brother or my sister. My grandmother died really young. She was really good at dreams. I work a lot in dreams, but I don't think, I wouldn't say that's one of my skills. I'm proficient, but I wouldn't say that's my thing. Anyhow, so I wanted to give you 2 tips before we go to the 20-minute mark. 2 tips of if you're having spiritual disturbances that you would like to address. And I, of course, am going to give you 2 tips that are unconventional, okay? And then I'm going to get to the question that you guys have, or commentary, because, you guys being here and sharing is why I do these lives, is because I want to have this discourse. I think it's valuable. So 2 tips. One is, how are you doing, like what are you doing? What are you doing to practice to create more love in your life? Like love is a frequency of creation. Love is a frequency of the cosmos. Love is a frequency that expands. So you want to consciously be doing things that practice to create and develop and expand more love in your life. That would be super helpful. And it's not, there's no dogma around love. I mean, unless you think that love is love is unique to a marriage or a partnership. You know, I always have said that love is a frequency. I've always known it as a frequency. I've always known it as a method of communicating, and I work to expand it. Now, I wanted to give you guys something palatable to go and practice. So practice being and creating love in your experience, love in your relationships, love in your communication, love in your life, you know, however you want to interpret that. Like, play with it, experiment with it. Don't be afraid to expand love. It feels far more freeing than the disturbances that many people are experiencing in their sleep and in their communication and in their conflicts. And it's their disconnection from love that is allowing these disturbances to become so overwhelming, okay? And I'm sharing that from my own personal experience. And also, you know, I just want to give people free things on these YouTubes that you guys can do on your own if you can't afford or don't want to have a session. Okay, number 2, and this one might seem quite different for you, but I think it would be really helpful, is that a lot of us, especially here in California, you know, we're around the sun all the time, but there's a conditioning to stay away from the sun, to wear sunblock, to wear sunglasses, to make sure that you're shaded. But there's a lot of good nutrients and vitamins and vitality that comes from being in the sun. So my suggestion is to just go sit in the sun, feel the warmth of the sun. Allow the sun rays, especially, I know it's not sunny right now in Canada, but maybe some vitamin D light would be helpful. That's why they say it influences your mood, because being in the sun and having sun exposure is important to health. It's important to your vitality, and it's very important for your spiritual growth. So go sit in the sun, be with the sun, communicate with the sun, communicate with your body. Notice how your body feels in the sun. You know, ever since I was a little girl, I would go in the sun and just lay and bask in the sun. Now, of course, we put on baby oil, which was not the best thing to do for your appearances. But I will say that in my darkest days, when I was contending with a lot of manipulation, I stayed out of the sun. And if I had somebody that told me to go into the sun, I would say, no, I'm going to get wrinkles. I'm going to look bad. And I would go into this whole thing. And so this is why it's really important to go back to what I said at the very beginning, your belief system. Your belief system is going to be challenged during your spiritual disturbances. Go look at them consciously. Be proactive. Your belief system is the ultimate matrix which keeps you locked in a limiting way. Don't allow it to be that. Be proactive. Think critically. Allow yourself to expand in frequencies through the frequency of love, through the sun, through your awarenesses. Because when you're growing spiritually, awareness is kind of like the first step. You have an awareness, and then what? Then you can make a decision, or you could not, or you can be conscious, consciously choose. And most people are stuck at awareness. They don't get out of awareness. What do you do with awareness? Awareness is nothing. An aha is nothing if you don't utilize it and leverage it. You are here to grow and expand. So I don't want to feel like I'm talking at you because I really enjoy discussing with you all. So I'm going to go to the comments. Okay, bye, Taylor fan. You don't need to stay. Bye. Okay, let's see. Ankash, I am interested. You always have deep thoughts. Hello, Brazil. And just so you know, Peter, those lights for the sun, I live in California, and even I considered getting one because it's that good for your, gosh, the sun. I look so washed out. Anyway, just looking at myself in this. And the sun is reflecting. You can see it. Anyways, it's good for you. Mick, Eric, so good to see you. Mick is saying the Catholic Church is not right, Kiana. Oh, what gave you that inkling? I remember when I went, I told you guys the story about when I went and I saw the Pope. Oh, it was fascinating, fascinating. My faith is disturbed. I'm becoming an atheist. Look, that's anti-atheist. Atheist is not just believing in God, it's going against God. So atheism, this channel is not about that. This channel is about the natural laws. So if you want to learn about the natural laws, you want to learn about, this is how energy is guided, is through the natural laws. So you want to look at connecting directly with God without a church. Faith is not something that's whimsical. And if you are already disturbed and you're moving towards, let's just say, atheist or anti-Christ, that's the same as anti-life, and that is the same as death culture. So you want to know what you're moving towards because it will be formidable to your entire life. It will change how you see life. It will change how you incorporate relationships of expansion of love. So, spiritual awakening, Scorpio. All right. Today is the day, right? It's happening now. I've been challenging everything. I'm on the fence about everything. Okay. I think it's good to know why. Why are you challenging everything? What is that doing to serve you? And it's one thing to challenge things just to challenge them, or are you challenging them to grow and expand? Are you challenging them and then feeling what feels right in your body is what I would suggest. Okay, Thera talks. Saying I got schizophrenia and started understanding others think God spoke to them through ancient times. Well, there's a medical schizophrenia, and then there's a spiritual aspects of how the mind can be fractured. So that might be something to look at. You know, I'm not a doctor, I'm not a therapist, I'm not a psychologist, but that might be something to look at, because when we go and we get a diagnosis like schizophrenia, that is looking at it from a medical perspective. When you understand how the medical perspective has omitted any kind of spiritual aspects, to me, that's a problem. But you certainly, there's no doubt that you've struggled, and you certainly want to find peace and ease within yourself. How you do that is totally up to you. I don't think any diagnosis is who we are. So I go back to my three, I just finished confidence. And day one on part one of the confidence, I talk about answering the question, who am I? You know, a lot of people talk to God. That does not make them crazy. I would say people who judge people who are creating a direct relationship to God and judging it, I would say they're in their mind and they're out of balance and ego. Judgment is that. Now, we can diagnose that because there's diagnosis for a lot of things. And in fact, I need to get more technically savvy because there is a special video that I want to do on here if you guys would be interested. Let me look at the questions here. Okay. I wonder if you guys would be interested. It's a video that describes how the diagnoses of psychology and psychiatry have actually been done. And I think it would be formidable for people to really take a look at that. Because we need to start using critical thinking before we accept a diagnosis of people saying we are a particular way. I get wanting to know. Look, I've had some situations that I went to doctors, but you keep on going till you find somebody that makes sense. Because the first 8 to 9 doctors make absolutely ridiculous, asinine sense. They were ridiculous. And honestly, if I had extra money to sue, I would have. But I don't want to get stuck in that system either, because that's a demonic system. Okay, anyway. Mick says, I can walk into a church and tell if the spirit is at work or if it has been infiltrated. Mick, I don't go, I went to a Catholic graduate school, but I will also say I have gone by some food banks, and it was filled with demonic energies, just feeding off these people that were looking for services, goods and services. They're not all equal, but they're not all bad. So there are good people everywhere, and not every church is bad. It's just that you need to find what is best for you on your spiritual journey. Peter is saying, if you are having spiritual disturbances, question your thoughts, question your beliefs. Yes, 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 yes. I'm just going to pin that. Do not accept thoughts that are not yours. Begin to question thoughts that are not the right pattern of your thinking. Begin to question thoughts that come from out of the blue that maybe, especially if you're getting extrasensory abilities and you're telepathic, becoming more of a telepath, you're going to pick up on things. And one of those things that you're going to pick up on is other people's thoughts. Connor says, I want you to rectify me. I don't even understand what that means. Nobody, so good to see you here. Great to see you again. One question, do you sell your books on Amazon in Australia? I don't have a book that I have published. Although I have thought about it because I've been running, I just need some ideas on how to do it. So for the last 5 years, I have run a group, I do group sessions. And at the end of every month, I have these teachings that I give every month. And every month it's different because every month people are different. Every month the teaching's different, the theme's different, the topic, the energy, all of it is different. So I have been thinking about in some way, shape, or form taking what I already have and kind of repackaging it in some way. How that happens, I don't know. I had a Being in Sync 365 book that was just PDF that was like every month I had themes and, it was before its time. It was like I built it and they were come and then I got absolutely whammied. So, it just didn't happen. It was before its time. Now spiritual stuff I think is more acceptable, but this is going back 15 years ago. That's like before these types of things were done. Sorry, I'm just going to stand up because the sun is so bright. Okay. But I appreciate your confidence and desire to hear what I have to say, nobody. What would you want a book about? What would you want my book to be about? Powerful sun. Yes. I was talking about the sun. Did you hear? Powerful sun. You have named yourself that. Why? Why did you choose that name, and what do you get from that deep connection that you have with the sun? Thera talks, believing turns into blind faith and creates a small world for mental support. I don't disagree, but I'm not talking about blind faith. I'm talking about using critical thinking. Everything that I say on here, and you guys in the chat that have heard me talk before know, critical thinking is an art that people have lost access to. Why? Because they've been conditioned. Why? Because they've been indoctrinated into a way of thinking that makes them disconnect from their critical thinking. Okay? What does that? Foods do that. Ways of believing does that. Not questioning does that. People believe lies all the time. And guess what? When you wake up, it will hurt. So it's best that you be proactive and look, what do you believe? Why do you believe what people say? Why do you believe your parents? Why did you believe your parents? Because they were your parents? But what reason did you have to believe them? They taught you something. Was it what served your highest expression? Because oftentimes your parents are teaching you what they were taught, and then they were being taught by somebody else. So you need to question what you were taught and be okay with going against the grain. And a lot of people want their parents to like them. Who cares? For me, I would have loved my dad to be different than what he was, but he wasn't. He was I accepted him exactly who he was, and I chose to not engage. Now, he's passed away. He passed away very young. And, there was no love. I loved my dad. My dad loved me. But, in the physical personalities, we communicate quite different than we do in spirit. So, and when we're not open, and when we don't know to question things, we become small. And I think Tara Talks, you're spot on. Beliefs without questioning create a very small world. And that small world implodes on the spiritual journey. You don't get to escape the spiritual journey just because you have a religious belief. The spiritual journey and a religious belief, they're quite different. Faith is a mental problem too. Well, I think that's a blanket statement. Obviously, we're here on YouTube, so we can just make statements, but I don't think so. I think everybody has their journey, and if we see people who are in religions, for example, as having a mental problem, what good does that do? Doesn't support them growing and changing, number one. Number two, it makes us judgmental, which is not good for us and keeps us limited. And so, people are just people on their path. Who are we to judge them? I will say that if somebody says I'm a Christian or I'm a Catholic, and that's their identity, that's a red flag. That tells me that somebody that does not know who they are, and that to me is just a flag. It doesn't mean I judge them. I just say, I just notice. I notice to see what shows up. And I have really thought about doing this video on the most insecure person I thought I've met. But she identifies as Christian. And that doesn't make her bad. And that doesn't mean that everybody who's a Christian is insecure. But that was one of the red flags. That was the first one that I got. And it ended up playing out. Mick says, the Catholic Church, Kiana, does not sit right with me. It's good just to have that awareness. And, that's okay. It doesn't need to sit right. It sits how it sits, which is it doesn't resonate. It doesn't need it's right or wrong. It just means it's not your path. And you have other lessons. And unless you're called to go make changes within the church, I remember when I was young, I wanted to be a priest. And my mom was like, they don't allow women to do that. And I was like, what? Why? This is going back quite a years because I'm older. But so I just thought, why is it so closed? I mean, so it's since changed, but not too much. I mean, the beliefs are the beliefs. Nobody says, I didn't like the fear associated with the Bible. If sin, I go to hell. Right? There's a lot of, black and white, right? And this is the part nobody, and I will agree with you. I don't identify with the sin aspect. That doesn't mean that people don't make mistakes, but those mistakes are not unforgiven in the natural laws. All the natural laws state is that you're learning and you're growing and you're evolving. And so you take these situations and you could grow and evolve. People, like I really do think, and I'm just going off, that many of these random shootings are people who have been taken over. Their soul has been taken over, their light's been taken over, they're being siphoned, they're not thinking properly. I'm not even going to say they're mentally ill because they are taken over. So they're not even in their full capacities. And I believe and have believed for many years that is what has transpired. Now, that doesn't mean these people aren't responsible, because we're all responsible for our physical, mental, emotional, and spiritual alignment. And a lot of these people are young kids that have been raised in families with no connection to creation, or at least they feel like they have no connection. And so they do these horrible things, and I think that they can find resolution and healing afterwards, but it's very chaotic, and the lessons are painful for many, right? Because this is an event that causes a ripple, because all these events cause ripples, because we are all connected. We're not isolated, even though we might feel very isolated, which is one of the things I wanted to say, is that the spiritual disturbances often cause us to go into isolation. But often the spiritual journey, when we're questioning or noticing or having our awarenesses expand, and we go into judgment because we have not learned how to discipline our mind into not be in judgment and to be in connection to our heart, we judge what we're sensing. And information is just information. It's not good, it's not bad, it's a frequency. Okay, Therotox is saying, which keeps people away from accepting reality, which creates a small world called hope. Well, reality is based on your perception. So Therotox, I think that you're a very smart and astute person, but your reality is going to be based on what I talked about earlier, your belief system. And how have you challenged your belief system about what you're even stating here? Because your belief system is creating your reality. Nomad says, on the third day, God created a talking cat and forgot about humanity. Funny. Powerful Son, you did not tell me. Tell me what you think, Powerful Son. Okay, nobody says he likes Hertz meditation. I would just say my only warning on the nobody is definitely don't believe that they're saying it's 363, or what did you say? This is my dyslexia coming up. 639 Hertz. Don't believe that it's 639 Hertz because it says it's so. Feel it. Get to know what that frequency is so you can distinguish it on your own. Once you can distinguish it on your own, you can bring that into your meditation without calling in an outside source. Just a tip. Therotox, what about loving husband? I'm not sure what your question is, Thera. I know the God I used to pray to is either fantastic, novel, or a human, so end of God. Okay. I'm not sure what you're saying. The sun is good. Yes, the sun is good. Nature does nurture. That's creation. Where did that come from? Ask yourself. Okay, Mick, you're in Dublin. I was wondering where you were, Mick. So you're in Dublin now, so I take vitamin D and K2 during the winter. Good for you. It's late there, Mick, huh? Because Jerry, I think Jerry said he's in Dublin as well. I have to look. Thera Talk says, I live in India after forsaking God, sun, and moon are only things that makes the heart warm. So yeah, whatever you resonate with. I would look at, there are, I'm not going to even say it. It's just going to, hey, Sailors Live, good to see you. Spiritual Awakening says, well put, I love it. Okay, all right, here you go, y'all. We're going to get some deep thoughts from Kush. Kush, what are you saying? In my opinion, spiritual disturbance arise from existential dissonance or a disjunction with one's metaphysical convictions. I love your languaging. It's so good. Introspection and meditative praxis. I think you mean practice after realign equilibrium. So let me just say this. I stopped talking like an educator. So I used to teach masters in leadership and PhD leadership. And what I learned is that language is important. And that when I spoke in a way that people couldn't understand, they didn't get the message. So what's most important, Ankash, is to have your message received. I absolutely love your vocabulary, and I wish I had a more proficient vocabulary. However, I learned to stop that because I couldn't really connect with my clients in a meaningful way with the way that I was speaking. So I adjusted over 25 years ago when I stopped being an adjunct faculty and started doing consulting. Somebody's asking, are you a spiritual healer? I do what's called physical, mental, emotional, and spiritual alignment through a process I have called energy psychology. If you think that's a spiritual healer, I would agree. But I don't call myself that because I think it's been watered down, number one. Number two, there's so many frauds out there that are not very good. I don't want to be associated with that. So I call myself energy psychology consultant. Mick says, I miss the sunshine. You look like the sunshine. Thank you. Well, you can see it's reflecting back. The sun is just right there. It's on its way down today. I live in California. Thera Talk saying, yeah, after schizophrenia and hearing voices, my way of world changed a lot. I believe that would be very humbling. I became humble, started enjoying peace, nature, humans, forgot about the caste, religion. Good for you, Thera. Are you on medication? That's a personal question. You don't have to answer it, but I'm just guessing. Good for you, because you can really heal yourself by being in nature, for sure. Spiritual Awakening says, if you're trying to make sense out of this lifetime and you cannot, it is because you have reincarnated over and over and over again. Well, I would just say this, Spiritual Awakening, about that comment, in that we're all here to learn our soul lessons. And because we haven't been taught how to learn our soul lessons, doesn't mean that you're exempt from learning them. So if you don't learn that there are spiritual cycles, it starts when you're young, and then it goes through your teenage and young adult, and then adulthood. And by the time, if you don't learn those cycles and those lessons within those cycles, you build up what's called density and overwhelm, and also you won't know to clear your field of energetic parasites. And a lot of dis-ease and discomfort comes from parasitic energies, which is not a very popular topic, but it's very important. Thera Talk says, I use meditation a lot. I never eat meat. Drinks too much into spirituality. Now I just become human. You are human, yeah. Oh, he uses binaural beats maintained. Interesting. Very interesting. Thank you for sharing your personal journey here. Hey, Muscle Therapy San Diego. Good to see you here. If you're still here, I know I get down in the chat. I ask questions. So Diana is saying some of the spiritual aggressions could be cured with treatment. Depends what kind of treatment. Now you got to get specific here. All psychic diseases are spiritually based and need deliverance. Interesting, Diana. I don't know. It depends what you're looking at a treatment. I don't look at my work as treatments as much as evolution, because you can't do it all in one session because we couldn't manage it. But it is interesting. Peter says, yes, sounds like an interesting video. It's like 3 hours long. I would have to maybe just do parts of it, but the diagnosing and the system around it is nefarious, Peter. It is nefarious. Just know that, and it all leads back to money. Mick is saying I should do a book. What is my book going to be on? Peter is saying rectify me, to fix me. The person meant for you to be their healer, guide, or doctor. What I try to teach my clients that are open is that they are their own healers. We just need people to help learn and challenge us too on what it is that we need to grow and see. I can't see everything for myself, and that's the most frustrating thing because I do my own healing on myself. I do it with clients, but it's really challenging to do everything yourself. You need other people, and my husband and we disagree on this, but I will say that you can't do this work alone. You can't. No way ever, because we are ultimately reflections of one another. And we need others to help us see. We need others to help us grow and evolve. And let's be honest, the spiritual journey, we have been blocked from knowing information. Why? Because it keeps us in a system of limitation. No, I have never seen I'm guessing this is a movie. I have never seen this. I don't watch a lot of mainstream stuff. Is that a mainstream? I wouldn't even know. Peter is saying the person needs to realize that they are their own healer. Yes. Greg, hey, good to see you here. It's past midnight. Where are you from? Okay, I don't know these time zones. I don't know what the best time. Connor Ryan's comment request. I don't know what that means, Peter. Wanting versus asking. Peter, Eric, hey, Oliver, welcome. Good to see you here. Thanks for helping out with the chat. It seems like the chat is more calm. Ankush, I don't know what happened to your... Unkush, sorry, I keep saying Kosh. Unkush, your message got deleted. I don't know why. Okay, Theratalk says, at 27, I realized there isn't a heaven or a hell, a right or wrong. You learned about judgment. Good for you. If the heart aches with pain to do something is called wrong, no other rules or cops, constitution. It's all about understanding beings. Well, you learned the lesson of the ego. I'd be interested to hear your perspective on mental fracturing, because I think the spiritual journey can feel like a mental fracture. It can feel like you're going crazy. Peter is saying, coming out of isolation, how to, things to know about isolation. Well, why are you isolating? Are you in some type of renewal? Because I know when I'm going through a lot of changes, and I see this with clients too, we go in an ebb and a flow, Peter. So is isolation a way of protecting yourself? Like, go into your 5 whys and ask, why am I isolating? Do I just not enjoy being around people? I mean, this is my ideal of social engagement, okay? I'm not lying. I enjoy doing Peloton and high-fiving. I like encouragement. Going to the gym is not nearly as pleasurable as it is to be on my bike in the other room. Why? Because I pick up on energy. So this is social engagement. Is this ideal? Should we be in person more? Maybe. If people were more aware, it would be more enjoyable. But they're not always that way. So, you know, I'm not a big party person. I'll go to a party, I'll people watch, but then for me, like, it's a process when I get home. You know, I have my things to do. So, Peter, I wonder if being in isolation is just a coping mechanism that you have aligned with because it keeps you feeling safe. Safe meaning predictable. And so maybe it's not about having things be predictable, because Kiana has told people over and over and over again, you got to get uncomfortable to grow. So getting out of your comfort zone. Yes, I know. I get to the comments. Sorry. Oh, Mick, are you leaving? I'm sorry. I'm going slow through the chat. Hey, Murat. Thank you. Anka, Kush. I love your words are beautiful. I love them. Do you think spiritual disturbances are purely internal, or could they also be influenced by external energies and collective consciousness? I'd love to hear your perspective on this. I think spiritual disturbances are a yes and. I think that our internal world is reflected outside, and that's what creates our reality. I also think there is a collective consciousness, and how we internalize and see that reflection is going to be based on our belief systems, which most people have not taken time to challenge. So spiritual disturbances, again, I think it's a part of initiation, because a lot of people are being initiated spiritually and don't even know that it's happening. And it's going to come through with feeling confused and lost and unsure. And you're going to have to stay the course, and you're going to have to create. I wish I would have had somebody like me who said, oh, Kiana, why don't you go create and start consciously creating the frequency of love in everything that you do. That would have shifted me out of a lot of the heavy darkness that I was contending with. It would have been hard. I mean, I was reading books. I was reading, what was I reading? I was reading, I can't even remember the name of the book. I didn't finish it, but, Course in Miracles. A Course in Miracles, which is a daily, it's more Christian. It's a daily thing where you read this daily sayings, and then they give you a practice. And I didn't get very far, but I was reading that when I had my near-death experience. So I was in the practice of connecting with the Holy Spirit. And, so I got to have it in my near-death experience. I was doing my practice. I will tell you, there was no fear, but I knew I was dying. And I was close. And I messaged one spiritual healer to help pray with me before I just started saying my prayers, and I'm safe. I was okay, and I was at ease, and I had no fear. And then within moments, I got a medicine that actually saved my life. So You know, did I believe in the Holy Spirit before that happened? I think I had holy experiences that I didn't know were holy. But that certainly was a fundamental aspect. And this is what I mean about seeing whispers, you know, because I had whispers, I didn't pay attention. And even though I was very astute and aware, I didn't know because I was being blocked. I didn't have the learning. We didn't have YouTubes like this back when that happened. It wasn't like what it is now. You all have access to people in ways that was never a thing when I was going through my spiritual challenges. But you all have an opportunity to ask questions and you don't even have to listen to somebody like me. You can keep moving. I don't believe in reincarnation. I believe in God, but not the God that was so you're not an atheist. You do believe in God. You don't believe in religion. Those are two different things. Anyways. Murat is saying, do you think this life is real? I think it's like a game, and it's like this holographic. It's real for me, for this aspect of my personality and identity, and this identity matrix, it's real. Do I have connection with my other aspects? I think so, but maybe not as completely as I could. It just depends on how you're perceiving the holographic reality. Oh, good, Thera. Good for you. Congratulations on writing the book. What does it mean if you're having bad dreams almost every night? Okay, there is a lot of interference that happens in the ethereal realms, in the astral realms, and it means that you have a lot of vulnerabilities in your field, number one. Number two, it means that you're probably processing a lot of the collective consciousness that doesn't feel good, so it's heavy. And so I would suggest, number one, you check out the intention setting to synchronicity class here every day, and I would do intentions before you go to sleep. Make sure you have very clear intentions. Hello, I am reading the chat. Peter, isolation is also a dareful task. Really improves mental fortitude, but some people go crazy of being alone, even depression. Hi, Sophia. Good to see you. Oh, LJ, you've been doing the responsibility thing you talked about. It is not easy. Okay, LJ, just do it for 24 hours. So you've already done it. This is the next step, okay? For those of you who did the responsibility, the next step is to write down everything that you learned about taking responsibility. What were the challenges? What did you notice in your awareness? Write those down. And then I like that you're doing it more often, because what I bet you're noticing is you're becoming more empowered. And that is a good thing. You are empowered. Let me know, LJ. Oh, okay, Mick. Oh, I'm down to the chat. Okay, Hollywood Jewel says, why you gotta be so pretty? Thank you, Hollywood. Mick, life is no game. It is a game. It's just we take it too seriously, Mick, because we're serious. We want to get to business. And that's part of our personality, right? but our personality takes on different aspects. Okay, y'all, I've gone over an hour. Do you guys have any other questions about this topic? Spiritual disturbances. Sophia, I'm experiencing some interesting challenges, wondering what's going on. Okay, bring it, Sophia, we're here. I love it. Life is to enjoy, but it's not a game. You know, it's all perspective, Mick. It's all perspective. I think sometimes, at least for me, we could take things way too seriously because we know what's happening, but also it's like, you know, it's our choice on how we're going to walk through this thing called life. Sophia, are you coming on? Chat, I'm looking. Otherwise, I'm done. I want to see what you've got going on, your challenges. Any questions about spiritual disturbances, sitting in the sun, feeling, sensing? Spiritual awakening. Why do I feel prickly feeling on my neck and my side of the head? I don't know. I would need to tap into your specific energy to do that. Edward is saying, I need an alibi. Okay, Sophia. Daughter, with a narcissist. She's special needs. A double whammy. Roof damaged, workers messed up, pool leaking, dog is ill. Well, that's a lot, Sophia. You have a daughter, so you're saying your daughter is a narcissist. Is it possible that you could not label your daughter? Can you take, like, who is your daughter without all the labels? Edward, you're funny. Sophia, you got a lot of things happening. What's your question about the challenges? Obviously, that's a lot. So I would ask, like, the 2 useful tips about spiritual disturbances I said was, number 1, okay. I would really encourage you, Sophia, to the best of your ability to stay away from the labels. And here's why. The labels keep other people limited. And, you know, let's just be really honest. A narcissist is a wounded person who has an imbalance of ego. That's all it is. So we don't need to call them something that they're not. They have a wound that has yet to be healed. And if she has special needs, she might need extra help in healing her wounds. It might be very challenging to be in her body. So you have a lot of things going on around your family. What I would ask you to consider, Sophia, is how are you, number 1, approaching yourself with compassion and love? How are you finding love in and creating love in your life? Well, I believe everything is spiritual. Everything is a reflection of our spiritual aspects. So everything is to be learned from. So what's going on spiritually and what could I do? She's with a young man who is wounded. So wounded. So she must be wounded to attract a wounded man. It doesn't happen without the wound initially happening here. So the inner world creates the outer world. So everything is spiritual from my perspective. I don't care what it is. Working out, sitting, watching TV. Everything is an opportunity for us to learn and grow. Okay, that's how I see it. what the question is, Sophia, how are you expanding love in your field? How are you expanding yourself? How are you meeting yourself with self-love and compassion? And how is that being created in your field? That's what you want to start to look for. Because right now you're seeing all the challenges, which is quite significant from what you wrote here. And yes, this is a YouTube chat, so it's short. But that's a lot of challenges. So you also want to look at, perspective. And perspective changes when you bring the frequency of love into it. And everybody has their spiritual journey. Your daughter, the boyfriend, your father, you. So focus on what are these people reflecting back to you. Do you have wounds, Sophia, that need to be healed? I love to help my clients look at their soul wounds, but not everybody wants to look at their soul wounds. I feel like I'm an emoji. But not everybody likes to look at their soul wounds. It's not fun to have awarenesses come to light, but that's how we learn. When we see different, when we integrate those lessons, we are different. That means how we walk through life is different. Mick says, Kiana can't get deep enough into this subject because short texts are time. Yeah. Thank you. Yeah, Sophia, I have a lot of compassion for you because, look, taking care of others is not easy. Being a mom is not an easy job. If you don't think being a mother isn't a spiritual experience, then I don't know what world you're living in. That is one of the hardest jobs you will ever have. There's a lot of guilt. There's a lot of grief. And I wonder how much you've really delved into the wound that you have, and I'm just going deep here, I hope you don't mind, about having a child that's special needs. Have you really dealt with that experience for yourself in a way that's healing? Have you been able to bring love into your experience and love yourself through the challenges of motherhood? Because being a mom is not easy. Being a father is not easy. Being in life is not easy. We all sign up for this place and we all have our own lessons. They're not all the same. You obviously got dealt the mother load, right? Sophia's saying, I'm just going around trying to be useful, feeling that I'm not loved and appreciated unless I'm useful. Well, right. The need to be needed is one of the lessons that you need to rectify because nobody can fill up that emptiness within you. Check out my website. See if what I do resonates with you. You'll find it's very interesting. It's just for some time I've been unable to understand the fact that one day I die and become fertilizer, no heaven. Well, that's your belief. Hey, Salvo, my goodness, where have you been? Good to see you here, my friend from Italy. I was just thinking, I haven't seen Salvo on lately. So, and here you are. Spiritual awakening, I can't tell you your soul wounds. You know them. Look for patterns. I mean, I could if you were a client, but look for repeating patterns that have come through your life repeatedly. You will know them. They will be the ones that cause you a lot of pain, and you won't want to look at them. Those are soul patterns, at least from my perspective. They're not all like the same, but I'm very analytical. I like to label and write. That's how I do it. I've never met anybody that addresses soul wounds, ever. Ever. I know people talk about it, but they don't talk about how to heal it. I help my clients heal it. This is how I know it works. I'm not the only one that does it. I'm sure there's other people out there. I never met them. I haven't seen them. I haven't seen their techniques. I don't know. It would have been nice. I had to create my own process. So soul wounds are those things, and I have a video on here, Spiritual Awakening, so go check it out on soul wounds. Sophia, no, I generally try not to even feel things. No, we have our own challenges. See? Not feeling things doesn't heal them. Yeah, Mick is agreeing with you that he also has a son with special needs. You're welcome, Sophia. Thank you so much for being here and for sharing, for asking your question. This chat is so beautiful most of the time. Sometimes we get blasted by bots. Hi, Rob. We talk about the natural laws here. What? I did not know you were in New York, Salvo. My mind is blown right now. This whole time I thought you were in Italy. Okay. So I got some of it right. New York. My mother was from Brooklyn. Anyways, lots of family from that area. People from California always think I'm from the East Coast. But I don't spend a lot of time in New York. Anyways, my cousins came over are from Italy. Nice. Well, it's good to see you here, Salvo. You've been working. You certainly put in the time, that's for sure. Please send my regards to your lovely girlfriend. Thera talks. We can even control faith and people and change beliefs by helping by power and political marriage. Interesting. Official. What are you saying here? Kiana is a beautiful name. I watch your videos daily from Chicago. Hey, good to see you. Thank you so much. I'm so glad that you made yourself known here. I appreciate it. And if you watch videos on replay, please let me know. Liz, you're from New York too? I can't think of a New York saying. Although I have to say, I did find the bagels in Montreal were better than New York. Pizza's still Italy. Okay, all right. Good to see you, Liz. Thank you. I didn't know that you were here. Spiritual Awakening says, no bots tonight, just love and healing, right? Michigan. Hey, love it. Oh, knowledge. I love it. Official knowledge, the artist. I love it. That's so nice. I love the play on language. Brazil is here. He needs to learn English. Okay. See you, Salvo. Thank you for checking in. Official, you watch the replays daily. Thank you so much for letting me know. Have you tried them, Salvo? Now you got to go check it out. Okay, y'all. I've been on here a while. You guys have been great. This has been a really lovely chat here. I love having these meaningful conversations with perfect strangers who are in touch with their heart and that just want to live their lives to the best of their ability. We shall see. I don't know. Okay. It does not matter how old you are. Age is just a number. Okay. Blessings, Sophia. Thank you for being here. I was going to get off and now you're... I've started watching Friends series on Netflix for improving English. Any idea about the collection of vocabulary? No. Okay, Mick. Yeah, it's been a while. You guys have been awesome. It's been great here to chat with you. Tomorrow I will be here again for another topic of the Being and Seeing 366 video series. As you guys know, I come on here every day talking about a different topic aligned to the natural laws. These are the natural laws aligned to creation, God, source energy. If you want more information about me, please go to my website. Otherwise, if you're watching on the replay, please let me know you're here. I love it. If you have any questions or suggestions about the topic, I always take heed to your comments and try to do videos that are meaningful to you all. So take care. You guys have a great night, and I'll see you tomorrow for another video. Cheers. Bye.